What is up, Coroners? In this video, I'm going to be giving a guide for this week's normal time trial, RC Bandito time trial, and the premium race for this week, totaling over $300,000. However, for this week, the regular time trial is paying out double money, so you can earn an extra $100,000 for completing the regular time trial this week. Remember that time trials can only be completed once during the event week period for the full payout. The premium race, however, can be completed in a limited amount of times with a 48-minute cooldown between each win. Also keep in mind that rocket-powered / flying vehicles cannot be used in time trials. So starting off with the time trial this week, which is end-to-end, again paying out double money this week, I highly recommend using either the Pariah, Itali RSX, Itali GTO, Devest 8, Emirates, Krieger, a Batty 801 holding a wheelie, or the Reaver holding the wheelie, which we all know is ridiculously fast for this time trial. Now in terms of route, the majority of this time trial is pretty straightforward and simple, a lot of highway, but the beginning section is pretty tricky with a lot of traffic getting in your way, but once you get through that first section and you get on the highway, it's pretty much smooth sailing to the finish. But again, that first section is a bit rough. And you'll see it in my run, I actually launched into the air, jumping off another car, landed, kept going, and still finished the time trial within the par time, so it does give you a bit of wiggle room this particular time trial in terms of the time. Now usually for these time trials, I challenge myself by picking either the prize right challenge car or the casino podium car of the corresponding event week, and for this week we have the Penetrator as the casino podium car and the regular Nero as the prize right challenge car. Now the Penetrator would be possible for this time trial, but it would have to be a near perfect run, so I decided to just go ahead and use the Nero for this one instead. Moving on to this week's RC Bandito time trial, which is Cemetery. As always, you need to own an RC Bandito in order to participate in these. So this one is pretty tricky if you've never done it before due to the higher speed tight areas and the bumpy sections as well. So the biggest thing to focus on for this one is staying on the paths. So if you start trying to cut corners, trying to go off the path to do that, you will lose control of the Bandito. Also, when you're on those high speed turns on the paths, make sure to let off the throttle for a few seconds when taking the corners, and of course make sure to use your brakes before the tighter ones. And lastly, we have this week's premium race, which is cutting Coroners. This one is restricted to the supercars class. I highly recommend either the Emirates, Krieger, S80RR, or a Wagner for this race. Now this race is pretty tricky for those of you who've never done it before, so I highly recommend practicing the regular version of this race first before just going straight into the premium one. Now, I will be using the cheapest vehicle out of my recommendations to show that you don't need to own the most expensive car to win in these races. And that's it, guys. The normal time trial is pretty difficult, mainly because of the beginning section, but it gets a lot easier once you get on the highway portion. The RC time trial is pretty tricky as well, but just take it slow and use your brakes and you should be fine. And this week's premium race might take some practice if you've never done it before. Again, remember guys, you can earn over $400,000 between the three of this week, and setting yourself the goal to beat them is always a lot of fun in my personal opinion. Let me know which one you found most difficult and what vehicles you used down below in the comments. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.